This is one of the better looking gaming laptops I've used. It's the Lenovo Legion 7i Gen 9, and depending on your usage, it may be a better choice compared to the more powerful Pro version. This is my review, but first, some disclosure. This laptop was provided by Lenovo for review. All my thoughts here are my own. They have no editorial input or feedback, and once I'm done with my review, this goes back to Lenovo. Let's start with the design. The Legion 7i Gen 9 looks beautiful in this glacier white color. It's made in anodized aluminum, feels sturdy and rugged when you hold it. Definitely lighter and slimmer compared to the previous laptop I reviewed, which is the Pro version of this laptop. It still has angular lines, but not as aggressive as the Pro version. There are vents on the back, but none on the side. I like the chrome accent on white, looks really good. The display is 16 inches, 16:10 aspect ratio with 240Hz refresh rate. The high refresh rate is very noticeable, especially if you've only used MacBooks, scrolling, going through menus, and the animations look very smooth. The colors are also managed with the built-in app called X-Rite. You can use sRGB or Rec 709. This is great if you're a creator who publishes videos online. It helps make sure the colors are accurate, not too contrasty or saturated. The webcam sticks out a little above the display. This also helps with opening the lid one-handedly. This is how it looks and sounds. Let me know what you think. So this is a sample video from the Legion 7i front-facing camera. Let me know how it looks. Let me know how it sounds. Leave your feedback in the comments. Thanks. The keyboard is great for typing, great spacing, key travel, and feedback. I'm not usually a fan of having numpads, but it's growing on me now. If I had a choice, I still prefer keyboards without a numpad. The RGB lighting is fully customizable if you use the Lenovo Vantage app, which has presets already, but you're able to change them. I leave it on preset 2 when I'm working, which is just a solid blue light. What's also new here is the Copilot button, which is an AI companion. You may have noticed that all the big companies are pushing AI to consumers. Personally, whatever makes my tasks easier, I approve. It helps me brainstorm creative ideas, and also great for composing emails or messages in certain tones. The trackpad works fine, but if you prefer to push on the trackpad, you're only able to physically click the bottom half. I prefer to tap instead of click, so this doesn't really affect me. I also prefer to use an external mouse 99% of the time. If you're interested, I like the Logitech MX Master 3S. It's so good for creators. In between the keyboard and the display is the power button with built-in fingerprint scanner for Windows Hello. This was surprising to me because the Legion Pro 7i, the Pro version of this laptop, does not have a fingerprint scanner. The left side of the Legion 7i has one USB-A port, two USB-C ports, and an audio jack. The USB-C port closest to you is Thunderbolt 4 compatible. The right side has another USB-A port, eShutter for the webcam if you need more privacy, another USB-C port, and an SD card reader. The back has a power port and HDMI. The port selection on this laptop is actually better than the Pro version. It has 3 USB-C ports instead of 2. It has an SD card reader, while the Pro version doesn't even have that. On the other hand, this Legion laptop doesn't have an Ethernet port, and I know that's important to most gamers out there. When it comes to specifications, this specific review unit has the Intel Core i9-14900HX CPU, 32 GB of RAM, 1TB SSD, NVIDIA GeForce RTX 4070. It starts at $1699 and go up depending on your specifications. I looked online and this specific model is currently at $2,049 but Lenovo usually has deals, so check the link in the description for the latest pricing. It's priced below the Legion Pro 7i, so something to keep in mind if you have a budget. For about $400 less, you get less storage, less powerful GPU, but you get a slimmer and lighter laptop, you get a fingerprint scanner, SD card reader, and more USB-C ports. And these things are probably more important for some people. So this runs Windows 11 Home, and I mentioned this in my previous review. I feel like Windows has become more bloated. There are a lot of things that I turn off right away. For example, I turn off the search bar, Copilot, task view, and widgets. I can already access the Copilot from the keyboard. I can already access my task view from my mouse, and widgets is just useless for me. It looks very messy and it forces me to use the Microsoft Edge browser instead of my preferred default browser, Chrome. Also, even after uninstalling the pre-installed McAfee antivirus, I kept getting pop-up notifications on the lower right corner to subscribe. It's so annoying, especially since I don't want that on my laptop. Otherwise, happy with the rest of the experience. experience, performance is great. Everyday tasks like emails, word processing, and watching movies or videos run smoothly. I do a lot of emails on Outlook and edit documents on Word or Google Docs. I look at multiple tabs of spreadsheets throughout the day. Also watch a lot of YouTube videos. I don't bump into any slowdowns or hiccups. It works fine. The speakers sound great. I think they sound a little better than the Pro version 2. When playing some pop songs, the vocals are very clear, pretty solid. However, when playing some hip-hop songs, the bass feels lacking. Lenovo does provide a built-in app called Nahimic, which lets you adjust the equalizer and select presets. I also edit videos, creating social videos on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. This Legion 7i handles everything smoothly. I use Adobe Premiere Pro, and scrolling on the timeline is smooth. Exporting is also super fast. I make a lot of short-form videos, and they take just a few seconds to export. Speaking of performance, Lenovo gives you the option to manage the power and performance of your laptop. This is optional and for more advanced users, but at the same time, it's user-friendly enough for the average user to take advantage of. Inside the Lenovo Vantage app, you could choose performance mode, which boosts your computer performance with higher fan speed and power consumption. I usually select this when I'm plugged in. If you want a quieter machine, then you leave this on balance mode. Lenovo also gives you the option to overclock the GPU with a simple switch on and off, which gives you more performance. I usually turn this on when I'm playing games or editing videos. If you're coming from a MacBook, then you don't have this built-in power management app. Apple makes all the decisions for you. So if you want to have more control over your device's performance, but don't want to play around with BIOS or other complicated stuff, then the Legion 7i is a good choice. You could also use the keyboard shortcut Function Q to cycle through the different modes more quickly. And of course, when I have free time, I play a couple of games. I usually play EA FC 24 and Call of Duty multiplayer. I'm happy with the performance, but keep in mind the laptop I was reviewing before this was the Pro version with better graphics. On Call of Duty multiplayer, using the recommended GeForce experience settings at 2560 by 1600 resolution, I got 120 frames per second on mixed high and ultra settings. This is more than enough for a casual gamer like me. On EA FC 24, 2560 by 1600 on high settings with hair strand off, I got about 90 frames per second, which is lower than the Pro version, which was getting about 110 to 120 frames per second. Not really a fan of benchmarks since I prefer real-life usage, but I'll show a couple of tests here on your screen. I'm usually plugged in whenever I'm editing videos or playing games. That makes sure I have the best performance whenever I'm doing heavier workloads. I'm also using a dongle for the Ethernet cable to make sure I have the fastest connection. The laptop does feel warm, especially after heavy workloads and gaming. The warmest area is on the keypad area near the power button. This really won't bother many people since your hands aren't normally in that area. Unplugged, I noticed it will only last a couple of hours, so not that great. It's typical for most gaming laptops, but I was hoping to see more. You could squeeze out more battery life if you change the settings in the Lenovo app, like enabling quiet mode and disabling the dedicated graphics, but you'll typically need to carry around a charging cable wherever you go. So that's one of the big differences compared to a MacBook Pro. Mac's battery can last the whole day, and you won't need to worry if you forgot to bring your charger, but on the other hand, Macs aren't great for gaming. So to wrap up this review, the Legion 7i is a great machine for creators, excellent performance when editing videos, smaller and lighter than most other gaming machines. You also get several USB-C ports, you also get an SD card reader, and great pricing for the specifications that it offers. You'll be able to game when you're done working. You won't get top-of-the-line performance like the Pro version, which costs about $400 more, but it's more than good enough for casual gamers. No laptop is perfect though. The biggest complaint for me here is battery life at less than 2 hours. Other than that, pretty solid laptop, one of the best looking gaming laptops as well in this glacier white color. So that's my review of the Legion 7i Gen 9. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks so much for watching.